But it messes up right when you need it.
It does. It messed up on me yesterday, and I was like, "What the heck?" But we fixed it quick, so I was like, "Okay, all right." I have that turned down. All right, let's get going. All right. Hey everybody, this is Myiesha Majors with media with Myiesha. I always mess up Myiesha and Majors, but you guys know what I'm talking about. I am so excited that I am sitting down. I am humbled that I got a chance to sit down with the Cheryl McKissack Daniel to talk about all things pioneering, Black history, everything that her family has meant. It has been just amazing for me to read this book and dive into the history of not only the McKissack family, but just everything that was going on during the trajectory of this book in her life and where her life has ended her and brought her to today. Not ended her, brought her to today. Um, she is the fifth generation McKissack who has McKissack and McKissack, which is in New York. She talks about just all the generations, all the way back to slavery. I mean, she started in the 1700s in this book. If you have not gotten this book, you need to get this book. But let's get started. Miss McKissick, thank you so much for being here with me today.
Myiesha, I'm so excited to talk to you.
Thank you. And this is our new executive series, guys. So um, listen in, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and don't hesitate to share this with anybody. But let's get started. So, Miss Cheryl, your family's legacy stretches back over 2 centuries through 5 generations of builders, architects, and innovators. When you think about Generation 6 and beyond, what does that legacy look like for you?
Well, I have to look backwards first. And I have to say that with each generation, um, each steward was responsible for building a better company and expanding in some type of way. And so when I look back, I appreciate the shoulders that I stand on. I appreciate what my forefathers have been able to achieve. And, let's face it, I'm fifth generation now. And so,
Amazing.
yeah, amazing, unheard of. I mean, I'll give you the statistics as we go through this interview. Um, but when I think about the sixth generation, I just pray that I am leaving this company um, bigger and better and more sustainable than what it's been for the previous 5 generations. To make sure that this company can continue on uh, far beyond me and that it has an impact on young Black professionals, and that it provides ownership and the ability to manage a company like this to young Black professionals.
Absolutely. Because, I mean, when you look at, I mean, just the fact that you guys are fifth generation, I've heard you break down these stats and I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, you went back to your, what is it, 4 or 5 times great grandfather, Moses McKissack, who was a slave. And you come all the way into what's going on now. And you truly, like you said, are standing on the shoulders of your ancestors. It is just amazing to me. That your company has stood the test of time, because being a realtor, like, the stats are always like, you know,
Against us.
I don't even know
Yes.
if it's like 1 in 5, one in, every other may make it. It's like, if you sold one home in your first year, you're doing amazing. And for people
Mhm.
who's doing more than that, you're like at the top of, your game. So to see, just the story, and you were telling the story about, like, you guys weren't necessarily on a average, your grandfather wasn't on an average slave plantation. He was on one where he got taught a trade.
That's
So
right.
just that stuff is like so important, because as Black people, we just don't get our information and our history like that. And because you guys have kept the generations going, you've been able to tell this story.
Yes. And, being able to know where you've come from and know all the struggles that your family has survived, it makes you look at what's going around on around you today, it lets you know that you can overcome it. I mean, we are in a time where, all of a sudden equity, diversity, inclusion is being questioned. I mean, these are things that we've dealt with. I don't know how old the MWBE laws are in other states, but I know in New York, it's been since the early 1990s, like 1990. So
Right,
why
which
are
is
we
not that
going
long
back?
ago.
Yeah, why are we going back to deal with these things? But when I can sit here and I can look and say, okay, Moses McKissack the first overcame slavery, and then my other ancestors came over racism and hatred of the Deep South. And, you've read the book, you know about Birth of a Nation and what that
Yeah.
did to Black people. It seems like every time Black people get a step forward, a few steps forward, there's jealousy, there's insecurity, and all of these other isms that make people push us back. And
Yeah.
so they've survived some of the most heinous, difficult times for Black people in America, and they were able to overcome it. So
Hmm.
when I look at where we are today, I don't get scared that, for the first time in 30 some odd years, an RFP, which is the request for a proposal, comes out in the city of New York for the redevelopment of Penn Station, and it has zero MWBE goals. That's minority, women-owned businesses for people that don't know,
Right.
and zero service disabled veteran goals. It's the first I've seen in, I can't even tell you the last time I saw something like that. Even in
Wow.
private industry in New York, there's always a need for minority and women-owned businesses.
So then
So,
what's your opinion of the new mayor who just came into play? Do you think that he's going to impact any of that in a positive or negative way?
well, that's the problem we're having in New York. This is not the desires of local politicians. It's not the desire of our governor, our city council, our state and city reps. It's not what they want. What they want is inclusion because they understand what diversity brings and they
Right.
understand that New York is a diverse place. Um, it is because this project comes from Amtrak, which is
Mm.
federally funded. And so any um any I think any proposal coming out of the federal government is not going to have MWBE requirements. But more than that, Myiesha, this is the part that really, is the kicker.
Uh-huh.
We have companies that want us to be on their team, which we've agreed to do without the MWBE requirement, which is great. That means we're offering value beyond setting or you know uh, giving them MWBE points. However, we had to change our website and remove all of the MWBE services that we provide because the federal government is using AI to go through people's websites to see if they have any language pertaining to DE and I.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. I mean, it's sad, it's crazy. It's but the thing is you know how to bob and weave through it.
Right.
You've been adjusting and making the adjustments. You, your family, everybody has continued to adjust because I remember one of the stories you told in your book being a little girl and even remembering, I think you guys said you were at a birthday party, you and your sister, and there was a somebody came in or a birthday party, Christmas something, and somebody came and burned a cross on the
Right.
lawn. It's like you guys have you've been through it. You've seen it. You've seen
Right.
the hate, you've seen the ugliness and the fact that you see like, wait, we're not going back there, are we? And oh, you guys really want to go back there. It's disheartening, it's hurtful, it's frustrating, but
And I'm glad you
sometimes
said that. It is
yeah.
hurtful.
Hmm.
And, Black Americans, we have to heal. We have to heal from all this hatred that is directed our way, just because of how we look and the color of our skin.
Yeah. It's
And so, yes, I feel like this is a test. This is a period of time that can test what we have achieved. It tests Black excellence. You know, if you're offering something that people really need, it doesn't matter if you're Black or white, or if you're a minority or women owned business. So this gives us a test to say, okay, we have developed value that we can
Hmm.
bring to the market. And it also is a test for the Black community to say, we're going to use each other. We're
Right.
not, we're not going to go across the aisle and say a white firm's ice is colder. We're not doing that.
Right.
We need to stick together. You know, I just saw that Black Friday is supposed to be another one of those protests for Black America,
Hmm.
like Target and some of the other
Yeah.
large warehouse retail places. And I was like, darn, I need to get,
Get some stuff.
I need,
Oh.
I need to get, like, I have two black tie events, and I was waiting for Black Friday for me to get those
To get
gowns
those
at a
deals, yeah.
discounted price. But you know what? I'm gonna buy them from a black designer. You know, Christian, what's his name? John Christian Rogers. I'm gonna
I
buy
love it.
those type people. Um, it might be at Saks,
Listen,
but I'm
it has,
buying black.
yeah, it's put us in that position, and it's a good thing, even though
Yes.
like we should not be here. But the fact that it's forcing us to start looking within and saying, wait a minute, who does what, and where can I get this service from, and where can I buy these things from? Because I want my voice to matter too. Our dollars mean something. I mean, we spend the most money per capita of any race in this country when it comes to, clothing and all kinds of things. So it's really important that we have our voices heard in those ways. The things that we don't seem to, I won't say that we don't, but that I fight for all the time is to see our home ownership numbers continue to
Oh,
grow, because we look at us and we're spending all this money on so many other things, but I feel like sometimes the education just isn't there to teach us our power when it comes to ownership. And that's one thing that your story truly does, is teach us like ownership is important, whether it's your business, whether it's your home, to own something really truly means something, and to do it well, like to be respected. You are so respected within your community just because of all of the things that you've done. I wanted to ask you, like, because you've been involved in so many iconic projects in New York City, which project stands out as the most meaningful to you and why?
so I would say the most meaningful one to me is the JP Morgan Chase corporate headquarters.
I used to
It's
work for JP Morgan Chase.
ah, God, great organization,
Yeah.
with good leadership, and you know it's the power base of Wall Street.
Yeah.
And they built this beautiful building at 270 Park, right in the center of Manhattan. And you know, you can't even come to the city anymore without walking by and noticing this structure. It is like, you know, people coming to see the Statue of Liberty or the Empire
Wow.
State Building. Well, now they're coming to see the 270 Park JP Morgan Chase building because it is um, $4+ billion, is state of
Wow.
the art, 100% electric. The stats on this
I love
building
that.
is unbelievable. The environment they've created for their staff is unbelievable. But it means a lot to me because this was the first opportunity that we got to work with a Wall Street bank. And it was a result of George Floyd and the Wall Street saying, listen, you know, ESG matters, environmental,
Hmm.
social, and governments matters to us. And now what's happened with George Floyd matters to us. But if you look at it full circle, Wall Street was backed by slaves. Slaves
Hmm.
were slaves were collateral for a lot of the farmers in the South who got their money from Wall Street.
Yep.
And so now, my ancestors were those slaves. They were builders. And how much of America have black people built, but yet no one knows it. We're the hidden
Right.
figures in building this country. Hence the name of our book, The Black Family Who Built
Built
America. It's
America.
about
Right.
all black people. It's not just
Yeah.
about the McKissack, it's a metaphor. But
Yeah.
my great grandfather did it because he was forced. I'm
Right.
able to do it with JP Morgan Chase because I'm led. And so it's full circle.
Absolutely.
And that's why I love that project. Now, it's hard for me to overlook the airports.
Yes, because you've done so much. I mean, I was shocked at all the different things that you've been involved with, from the airports to even churches and homes that your family has built. And
Columbia
I think you guys said
University.
you guys are one of the biggest builders of like some of the churches out here.
Yes, black churches,
Yeah.
many black churches throughout the Northeast and the Southeast of America. Quite a few. Yes.
Yeah, you guys have built so many things. I mean, the Barclays Center. I mean, it's just you've had your
Eagle
hand and your
Stadium.
foot
Yes.
in so many different things. It's just amazing, and you leave no excuses. Like you look at you, like you said, knowing your history is powerful because you know that history, it gives you the power and the strength to keep going and to not take no for an answer. I mean, you talk about all the obstacles on all these different projects that you went through, and it's just amazing to see how you continue to endure. You continue to push forward instead of giving up, making excuses. It's what I think the young people of today need to see, because so
Well,
many people think
Myiesha,
everything comes fast.
we all have history, right? And we
Yeah,
have a legacy. We just have to write it down. We have to track it. We have to do our family trees. We have to
yeah.
ask our uncles and aunts and parents questions about where they came from so that we can document our own history and know exactly where we've come from. Everyone
Hmm.
can do what we did, what the McKissicks have done. Everyone can do pretty much what we've done. There's so many resources out there.
Absolutely. You were absolutely right. I'm thankful that you did it, because you led the way to do something that a lot of us probably have of doing, have wanted to do, have not known where to start, and it just it's humbling to see. I
Well,
wanted to ask.
where to start is a family tree. Writing down your parents, their generation, your
Yep.
generation, and the new generation coming right behind you. That's three generations right there.
Very true. Very true. I mean, if you just know that small bit of information, you can go back and tell so many stories. I just was telling my dad, who's getting ready to actually fully retire all the way. He's retired a couple of times, but he claims he's retiring all the way this time. We'll see. But I told him, I said, you need to write a book. And I was telling him about your book. I said, you really should think about writing about your history and your story, because it's so powerful, and you just don't know who you can help and who will be inspired. And he
That's
was like, he's like, you're the second person who told me that. Maybe that's what I'll do with my time. So I hope I can encourage him to do that, because I think our stories are important and powerful, and will help as we continue to move forward in the world that we're in, where so many things are fake, so many things are just like overdone. It's like true stories like are still needed, to
yes,
inspire the next
especially
generation.
for us,
Hmm.
because what it's doing is it's certifying our history so
Yeah,
that no one can take it away.
yeah, absolutely,
And that's what we need to do.
absolutely. I wanted to ask what inspired you to write this book other than your family history? Did you write it as a history book or as a ancestry thing for your children? Like what was behind it other than telling the family's history? Anything that you want to share?
Yeah, well, I knew this story was a very compelling, inspiring story. And I knew it was unique from the standpoint of architecture and construction, and family businesses and Black excellence. I knew all of that. And I just wanted to get the story out. And I've been trying to do that with my mother for at least 20 plus years. And, it only happens in God's right timing.
Yes.
What better time than right now, when they are trying to erase our history and, remove our books and get rid of our stories.
Yeah.
And as much as they want to do that, it doesn't change the fact that we're here. And
Right.
I say all the time, you may want to act like and ignore Black excellence, but we are here and we're not going anywhere.
We're not going
And
nowhere. We're here.
this book is a receipt of that.
I love
And
that.
so that is what it has inspired me to really get this book out at this time. But I had no idea it was going to come out the year that we would change administrations.
But you know what? It was perfect for this time
It's
because
perfect for
it's
this time.
perfect for this time. Like it gave me so much inspiration and so much just hope reading this book, knowing the time that we're in right now, because you can either allow the noise to take you off your game, or you can continue to push forward and know, you know what? This family is telling their history of what they came through, and they continue to forge ahead, and they didn't make an excuse, and they continue to build. Like, I mean, I know you talked about in the book how like you weren't even trying to work for the family business at first. You were
Right.
thinking like, I'm gonna do my own thing.
Right.
I,
Exactly.
I remember reading down to like your dad was like, I'll pay if you go to this college, and all those different things. And I heard you in another interview, you were talking about how, there was only so many degrees. And I mean, I went to college in the 90s, and there was only so many degrees. There was a lot more then than there was, I'm sure, when you were in school.
Right.
But now I went to a friend's graduation recently, and I was like, wait, they got a degree in what? Like, it's crazy the amount of things that you could get a degree in
It
now
is crazy.
compared to before. So, you know, we need to have this as a blueprint. And it is a blueprint, not just for people going into the real estate industry, going into the construction industry, just people, period. Our people, Black people, young people going into life and forging ahead and saying, wait a minute, if this family did it, hold on, let me see what my story is.
Mm-hmm. That's
And let me find out whose shoulders I'm standing on,
that's right.
is what I
That's
really think this book really helps us do. I did want to ask you because it was so, I don't know if I would say it was funny to me. It was funny, it was scary, it was a little, when you talked about getting shocked and surprised with meeting with, I think it was Bin Laden's brother.
yeah, Saad bin
That was
Laden.
like, I was like, wait, who is she meeting? And then when you, like, I don't have a poker face. So I was like, I just can't even imagine what would have happened when they opened the door after they just told me who was behind that door. How did that feel for you? And your sister was with you too, which was, at least you had somebody with you.
Well, before we walked into the room where Saad bin Laden was, my consultant has said, okay, don't touch him unless he touches you. And you are getting ready to meet Saad bin Laden, Osama bin Laden's brother. And I was like, huh? I'm glad you didn't tell me
Like,
until
I might not have shown up. Like, what?
I'm glad you didn't tell me. Um, my first thought was, well, why would they want to meet us? We're Black in America and we're women. Like, we're the lowest of the totem pole for them, but they
Right.
recognized our value, which
Mm-hmm.
But at the time when I'm walking in, I'm like, well, why would they want to meet us?
You like
They
us?
were, and so I was a little taken back with that. But this
Yeah.
gentleman, you could tell he looked like $1 billion. And and he was so relaxed and he was rubbing like these beads and just listening and shaking his head and very few words. Uh,
Okay.
but you could tell he was being very attentive, and his people were doing a lot of the talking. Um, but he was paying attention, and my sister started off with talking about her part of the firm because she's in DC with a separate firm, and we
Right.
decided, I said, well, let's do this together because I had no idea what I was getting into.
Right.
She was exhausted and she ended up, just talking about all these things. I mean, about what was going on in DC. And he said, okay, I've heard everything from you. Let me hear from her, pointing,
Uh-oh.
pointing to me.
Uh-huh.
So now I had gotten comfortable because I was sitting there just paying attention to the conversation for a good 20 minutes. And I could tell that this guy was a very sincere, humble, but yet educated. You could tell he was educated. And
Mm-hmm.
so, I started talking to him about New York, and he was fascinated. He was like, we miss New York so much because we can never go back to the United States. My
Yeah.
sister and I were in school in Boston, and we would go to New York and we would go to plays. We would just go out to dinner.
Wow.
We would hang out on. He said it was just so fabulous. He said, "Can you just bring me anything from New York City?"
The next time we meet,
And I'm like, here he is, a billionaire, but a billionaire who can't come to New York.
crazy.
Crazy. And
I
look,
mean,
here we are every single day. We're not restricted from going anywhere, quite
anywhere.
frankly, but yet there are people who are. So
Yes.
we're already working at an advantage,
Mm-hmm.
right? As Americans, even under the conditions where Americans, our government is in right now, we're still at an advantage.
Yeah.
And so, I after a while, I just begin to say, this has to be divine intervention, and let me just see where it goes.
So has it opened up any other international opportunities for you?
Not really.
Okay.
It was very costly to go after that work, and when our connection, well, I want to tell people what happened in the book because that is like one of the
Get the
best
book,
chapters.
y'all. Get this,
Get
get
the
this
book.
book right here and read it, and it'll tell you everything that happened.
Because it takes so many different turns.
Yes.
Um, but to me, it was a great experience because it let me know that I could do business internationally if I wanted to. But I have to be quite frank, Myiesha, it's very hard to leave New York. I mean, New York is an $80 billion construction, you know, um, state per
Every time I've
year.
been to New York, there's construction going on in
It's a
all
lot
parts of New
here.
York. So there's a lot of
People like
opportunity
those
there.
people, they want a piece of the rock. They want to be here
Yeah.
more than us. I mean, do I really want to work in Saudi Arabia where, women have to dress a certain way? You can't
Right.
go out to a restaurant and order a martini,
Right.
but guess what? I would work in Ghana. I would work in, North
Absolutely.
Korea. And this just let me know that when I'm ready, I can do that.
I love that. And it was when I was reading it and all the twists and turns, it was a lot. And it just in your book, you talk about like the cost of doing business, the cost of running a business, even
Yes.
down to you getting sick at
Yes.
times because of the stress of running a business. And me as a realtor and also a mentor, I mentor a lot of new agents. Um, I tell them all the time, there's a cost to have a business. Like
Yeah,
you watch these $1 million listing shows and you think you're just going to get your license and somebody's going to hand you the listing to their $1 million property. Can you
no,
even afford to market that property? Can you afford what it takes to sell that type of property?
right,
So it's the same thing with your business, just on a huge scale. Like, do you have the capital and can you even get the business loans
right,
to move in this world? So you got
right,
to start somewhere, which I mean, you of course had your family's business that was already there that had made a name for itself, but that didn't mean that you didn't have to keep pushing it to the next level to get where you are today, because you know it was, you've moved it to a whole nother level, and the next generation hopefully will do the same thing at their
right.
level. So that that
So
was
similar to your
eye opening.
business, we
Mm-hmm.
have to continue to sell work. You know, our contracts, as soon as we started, we're working our way out of a project because it's
Right.
going to end at some point. And so
Yeah.
we've got to replace that
Find
project
the
with
next one.
another project and hopefully a bigger project if we're going to grow. And so you're constantly dealing with the growth side of the business and the business development side of the business. And it's similar with you. You've got to keep selling properties, you
Yep.
know?
Once one goes in escrow, I mean, you
Yeah,
list one, it's like I need to find the next one. Once it goes into escrow, I really need to find the next one because this is going to close. If you don't have a few in escrow at a time, like sometimes you have 5, 6, 10 in escrow at a time. So it's like you're trying to juggle all of this, but you still need to continue, like you said, to find the next
right.
thing, because business, that's how business moves. That's how you continue to move the business.
Right.
And is there anything that you wanted to share before I ask you my last question?
Is there anything I want to share? Um, well, you just brought up some interesting points, and that is this whole notion that you can get rich quick. I just want to laugh at that. Um,
That's what
First
this
of all, you don't even
reality
want to
TV
really
has
do that.
made people think. Yeah.
It's like the person who wins the lottery, but they lose their soul
Mm-hmm.
because they don't know what to do. And so the whole process of building a business, I don't care what it is, it's a journey.
Mm-hmm.
And in that journey, you're building your own character. And if you
Absolutely.
don't build your character, when the success comes, you will not know what to do with it.
Oh, that's good. That's deep, but it's so true.
It's
I
so
tell
true.
people I've grown more as a person and as a business owner, as a mom, as a wife, just having my own business. Like it really makes you look at yourself differently.
Yes.
And so it's huge. So oh, I love that statement. That's so true. Um, Looking forward and looking ahead, what's next for you, Cheryl? More books, more projects, more initiatives? What do you have next that you can share with us? I would love for you to write another book because this book was really, really good. It was. It was. I loved how you went back and forth between your family's history to your history as a business owner, as a woman trying to forge her place in New York City, period, but as a business owner. So, what do you have next?
Well, right now, in January, I have succession. And so
Okay.
I have a whole group of senior leaders coming in to run the company. I have a president and CEO who's going to take my position, a COO, CFO, and a CDO. And
Wow.
so I'm doing succession. So I'm very excited about that. And another book would be terrific. There's a part of this book that I want to explore a lot more, and
Mm-hmm.
that is Moses McKissack II, who started his business right after emancipation in the late 1800s
Mm-hmm.
in Pulaski, Tennessee, right where the Ku Klux Klan was started.
Right.
So I want to do more history, get more research, and more get his history really solidified to understand how was he able to keep his business when the Ku Klux Klan was there, making sure they did everything to tear down businesses like his. So,
Hmm.
who in white society was his godfather?
Right.
Who
Because
was protecting him?
somebody had to open some doors for him to continue
Right.
to do what he
Who
did.
was doing that?
Yeah,
And then if I can then carry that forward and then talk about succession planning for Black businesses, I think that's what my second book would be about.
that would be amazing. Like truly, you guys, if you guys have not picked up this book, pick it up. It is truly, like I've said, if you guys have saw me talk about it, I did a little quick book review on it. I don't know if it was quick. It was quick to me, but sometimes I get a little wordy. But I did a book review on this book. And if you guys are looking for the blueprint, if you're going into business of any kind, if you just need to be inspired, if you want to see what a true family history looks like and how a family continued to forge ahead, because Cheryl didn't give us the statistics yet. And I'm going to ask her to give them to us before we close out, because statistically, family generational businesses do not last. And the fact that a Black family has lasted 5 generations is just tremendous. And so I am just encouraging you guys to pick this book up. I need to point this way. Pick this book up, scan that link, order that book. You can get from Amazon or anywhere books are sold. Cheryl, tell us close us out and tell us about this generation breakdown of how businesses really truly move on.
Yeah, I think most people know that 1 in 5 businesses fail in the first year.
Mm-hmm.
But for family businesses, only 40% make it to the second generation, 18% make it to the third, and 3% make it to the fourth. And that's all businesses. That's just not Black businesses. So
Absolutely.
you have to assume that Black businesses, the numbers are even, worse.
Starker. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And so we're fifth generation, and I don't know how many there are that are fifth generation, but I can tell you it's less than 1%.
I bet, yes, I bet you it is less than 1%.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Cheryl. And you guys, share this, like this, subscribe, get her book. If you have time to read this book, definitely read it. You will not be disappointed. It's funny, it's emotional, it's all the things. It's going to take you through all the different emotions, because I know it took me through all the different emotions as I read it. And so, thank you so much, Cheryl. Media with Myiesha, thanks you for being a guest here today. And I just look forward to continuing to watch you continue to inspire and be a pioneer and continue being what Black history truly means to our community.
Thank you, Myiesha. It's a pleasure to be here with you today.
Thank